Good afternoon. It is Wellbeing Wednesday, and I am really pleased to be here with you today to talk about something that we don't talk about enough in the context of brain health, and that is our gut. And this is all about today how to tell or recognize that your brain struggles are in your gut. And it's so easy in the way that traditional medicine works to focus all of our attention on the brain that may be struggling and none of our attention on really unraveling and uncovering what the root cause of the issues are around our brain struggles. And many of them have nothing to do with your brain directly and are not struggles directly as a consequence of your brain misfiring or your brain makeup, which is often what we're made to feel, particularly when we talk about mental health. The finger always points at our brain or our mental health being a problem and not really seeking to understand and uncover the problem that sits outside of our brain. Now, our brain, for those that don't know and for those that don't read the literature, is actually connected to the rest of our body. It's not a separate entity that stands alone its own right. I know this may come as a surprise to some people, but our brain communicates with the rest of our body. It's the engine of our life. And it is responsible for powering our heart. It's responsible for powering many of the organs in our body, and they all talk to each other. So if something isn't working right, then it tends to be reflected in other organs of our body as well. And it's really important that we take the time to look outside the brain when we're experiencing a brain struggle, to get curious around what could be at the root cause of our struggle. And often that root cause can lie in our gut. Our gut is connected to our brain via the vagus nerve. It is loaded with nervous tissue. It's that direct connection to our brain. It's where we feel our emotional states, including depression, stress, grief, and anxiety. Remember when we say, oh, I've got butterflies in our stomach, actually we mean butterflies in our gut, because our gut is responding to those stress states, that anxiety that may be feeling in our brain. 3/4 of the neurotransmitters are made there. So 3/4 of the transmitters that help our brain function effectively are made in our gut. So we really need to pay attention to our gut health if we want to optimize our brain health. Key thing about our gut, its lining is only a single cell thick. And so it's very vulnerable to us experiencing leaky gut, where the junctions within our gut expand and allow toxins and unhelpful bacteria to flow through into the rest of our body. Our gut contains 2/3 of our immune system. So if your immune system is struggling, it's quite possible that some of the root cause of that problem is a result of your gut health and your gut not being super happy. We absolutely need to have a healthy microbiome population. Our gut contains 100 trillion bacteria, and there are over 10,000 unique species. And when I talk to our daughter Lily and we talk about building her immune system, we talk about her gut soldiers. And it's really important that we feed the good gut soldiers, or the good bacteria in our gut, and make them fit and strong, and we don't feed the baddies in our gut, the bad bacteria that weaken our soldiers, that weaken our defenses and open us up to infection. Now, often people that may be experiencing symptoms of depression, anxiety and stress some of that can be a result of our gut microbiome not being optimal for us and our unique brain type, and our unique body type as well, because we're all unique in every way. So what can we attribute to leaky gut or problems with our gut health that may manifest as brain struggles? So often people who have trouble with their gut may experience one or more of these symptoms. Depression is one of them, joint and muscle pain, skin problems, excess anxiety, frequent infections, food intolerances, exhaustion, and gastrointestinal complaints. Those are all symptoms of leaky gut, and you can experience one or many of them depending on how your gut is responding and that leaky gut is manifesting in terms of symptoms in your body. So you might say to yourself, well, okay, well, that's really great, Ruth. Thanks for telling me that. But what causes me to get leaky gut? Well, there are really many things that can cause us to get leaky gut. And this leaky gut is where, if you think of our gut as being a lovely woven mesh of cells connected to each other, like my hands are shown here, what happens is when we don't create the right environment in our gut, those cell connections, those junctions start to expand, and we create these expanded gut junctions, which allows, if I will get, let me get 2 pens. So we've got our healthy bacteria, and let's go, the pen is the unhealthy bacteria. So we end up having unhealthy bacteria able to move through our gut lining, and the wider the junction, the wider the leak, the more of those unhealthy bacteria can get into our blood system, into our body, and cause us all sorts of problems. So cause, as I mentioned, gastrointestinal complaints, exhaustion, food intolerances, lots of frequent infections, skin problems, depression, joint and muscle pain, all can be attributed to having leaky gut. They're all symptoms of leaky gut. So what causes our leaky gut? Wow, here we go. Get ready, food industry, because we're on the attack. It is excessive sugar intake is a big factor. So sugar is a toxin. It feeds the bad bacteria in our gut. It's really not our friend. We might love it, but many of us are in a toxic relationship with sugar. It does not love us back. It loves to feed the baddies in our gut. So let's reduce our sugar intake and stop feeding the bugs that are going to hurt us. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, this is like ibuprofen. These can cause us leaky gut. Having a poor diet, so the consumption of toxins that are not suited to our brain health. Typical toxins that relate to leaky gut. Firstly, let's talk about gluten. Gluten is a huge contributor to leaky gut, as well as milk too. So if you are worried about symptoms that I've expressed above, and you think that your gut could be in trouble, then the best thing to do is go on an elimination diet and understand what foods actually love you back. And many of the foods we consume, particularly processed foods, sugar, simple carbohydrates, and gluten and dairy, really don't love us back. Many of us are intolerant to them. We are all on a spectrum of tolerance. Obviously, you have celiac at one end of the spectrum, and Crohn's disease, and then people who can quite okay tolerate it on the other. But it ultimately, the grains that we eat today and the milk we eat today, particularly A1 cow's milk, is not suited to us. We are designed to drink human milk, not cow's milk. That's how we've evolved. And so often they can be huge problems from a gut health perspective, and lead to problems such as skin problems, skin infections, increased ear, nose and throat infections. As I experienced myself personally, having suffered from multiple treatments of sinusitis, including hospitalization. And I no longer have that because I've eliminated the toxins in my diet that contributed to that, and that was particularly milk. Next one, low stomach acid is a big contributor. Alcohol. So we all talk about alcohol. Let's go and get those alcohol wipes out. Let's wipe the surface of our kitchen and remove all those bad bugs that are lurking around the kitchen. Let's make sure we use alcohol gel to clean our hands because it gets rid of all the bugs. Well, guess what? It does exactly the same in our guts. That alcohol kills the good bugs and it kills the bad bugs. It doesn't discriminate. So if you want to improve your gut health, if you want that variety of bacteria, if you want to build your defensive, if you want to build your soldiers up, get rid of the alcohol. It is not healthy for us. We're not designed to drink it, funnily enough. It is good for killing bugs, but not in the context of our gut health. We want to have lovely variety of soldiers, variety of bugs in our gut to help protect us and to help build our immune defenses and to help make those really important neurotransmitters that make us feel happy and great and motivated and don't make us, and if we don't make enough of them, we feel depressed, anxious, stressed, we can have brain fog, all sorts of issues. So let's help our gut build those soldiers up and stop eradicating them through consumption of alcohol. Drug use also affects our gut. Medications, particularly antibiotics. Antibiotics are there to kill bacterial infections. When we have antibiotics, it wipes out our gut microbiome. Anything that has been healthy, it tends to deplete. So it's really important that, first of all, we take the time to eliminate the toxins that are causing us to have infections, that are causing us to have leaky gut, which often is gluten and dairy. And second is to make sure that we limit and minimize as best we can and allow our immune system to do its job, minimize the amount of antibiotics we take. And that starts with limiting the toxins that demand us to take antibiotics in the first place. Infections and inflammation can lead to leaky gut too. So it's really vital that we tend to those infections, tend to inflammation, reduce inflammation in our bodies. Inflammation is our natural response to something that is not supposed to be in our system or not supposed to have happened. Things that can really help reduce inflammation is turmeric and omega-3. Vitamin D can help boost our immune system, along with zinc and vitamin C, and also vegetable consumption. I'll come on to that in a minute, but feeding those good bugs and minimizing the opportunity for the bad bugs to cross our junction in our gut is really important. Chronic stress can hugely impact our gut. As people know, that starts to increase the opportunity to have leaky gut. It affects our gut microbiome with all of the toxins, the high levels of cortisol that arise as a result of chronic stress. So it's really important that we keep our stress levels in check so that we're not producing this excess cortisol. Bacterial imbalance and also yeast overgrowth. Many of these can be assessed by blood tests to understand the health of your gut, to understand, and detailed history examination to understand what the root cause of your struggles may be and whether you are expressing one or many of those symptoms that relate to leaky gut. So what can you do strategically to support your gut health and limit the risk of having leaky gut and boost your brain health as a consequence? Because as I mentioned, our brain is connected to our gut, funnily enough, and the neurotransmitters that we need for optimal brain health not up to 90% of those are made in our gut. So it's vital that we look after our gut to look after our brain. So limit sugar intake and simple carbohydrates. Let's get rid of the white flour, the white rice, white potatoes, anything white. Look at the glycemic index of fruit, and focus on low glycemic index of fruit and vegetables. Go on an elimination diet. Understand what foods love you and what foods don't. So understand whether the food that you are consuming is medicine or whether it's poison for your mind and body. Consider taking a probiotic supplement that is appropriate for your gut. There's many probiotics out there. Some of them are very good, some of them are terrible, and it will depend on your gut microbiota and what species you have in your gut, what species are deficient, as to what appropriate probiotic you should be taking. You can eat fermented foods, plain yogurt, kimchi, kefir, sauerkraut, kombucha. Are all really good because they contain prebiotics to help feed your gut, as well as there's many things such as garlic, onions, and mushrooms are really good to help support your gut because they're all prebiotics. Eat plenty of high fiber foods. Vegetables and fruit are key. What we want to do is creating that right environment for those healthy bugs to grow, and that's done through the consumption of fruit and vegetable. Up to 8 servings of fruits and vegetables a day has been correlated linearly to our level of happiness. So the more vegetables and fruit you eat, and I'm not talking pureed or in a jar, I'm not talking fruit juices, which is basically like drinking sugar. I'm talking whole fruits and whole vegetables, making sure that you get up to 8 different varieties a day. Eat the cut from the rainbow. And limit the use of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, which are known to contribute to leaky gut. Like I said, often the root cause of our brain health struggles is not in our brain. It is caused by something outside our brain. And once we take the time to do the deep work and understand, okay, what is it that is at the root cause of my struggles? Gut health is one of the main problems that many of my clients experience. Once we optimize our gut health, we are on the road to optimizing our brain health. And if you've not got the right person to support you, if the person that is helping you is purely looking at your brain and not taking the time to look at anything else that could be affecting your brain, then I would strongly recommend that you find the right support for you that doesn't just look at your brain, but looks at the whole of you and takes an integrated perspective of your health and well-being and helps you address the root cause of your struggles. If you would love to learn more about how I can support you, how we can support you at the Wellbeing Warrior Academy, where we take an integrated view of your brain and whole body health, we'll do detailed brain health evaluations, provide you with brain health assessments to look at your brain power and performance, and put you on an appropriate action plan to optimize your brain and whole body health, then please do reach out to us at ruthmaryallen.com or the Wellbeing Warrior Academy.com. If you've got any questions or comments, please post below. I've got this, what somebody I know needs, but I'm unable to share it as there's no share button. Hopefully, if you once this recording has finished, you ought to be able to share it. It's broadcast across all of my social media platforms, so please, once it's been recorded, you'll be able to share it, and please do that, or please direct them to my website ruthmaryallen.com, and they can connect with us directly and book themselves in for a 50-minute consultation to find out how we can best help you. You are not stuck with the brain you have. You can make it better. And there are many, many reasons why you could be struggling with your brain health, and it doesn't all sit in your brain. Often it sits in your gut. Do take the time to look after your gut health, because it can have profound effects on your brain health. I hope this serves you. If you've got no questions about this, then I look forward to talking to you next week. Have a great Wellbeing Wednesday.